That's why some of these bills they think are going to kind of struggle getting through. But this next one that they proposed, I thought was really cool. I'll read it. It says a new bill was proposed to benefit police officers, prison guards, firefighters, paramedics, emergency medical technicians, and public and private school teachers who've worked in these professions for at least 4 years. And it would allow borrowers to finance up to 100%. So no money down. And basically you pay all the mortgage insurance up front and it's rolled into the loan. So you don't have monthly mortgage insurance either. So.
Hey y'all, Katie here with Team Evo AZ. Thank you so much for following us and listening to our podcast. Here is season 3, and we are super excited for this season. As you know, we are based in the Phoenix, Arizona area, servicing buyers and sellers throughout the valley. But what you might not have known is we are expanding nationwide. So if you know of anyone that might be looking to get into the real estate business or needs to buy or sell a property, but it is not in Arizona, we can still help. Please feel free to message us and enjoy the show. Hey everybody, it's Katie and
Matt.
And we are that real estate couple out in Phoenix, Arizona, talking a lot about real estate and a little bit about life on these bi-weekly podcast episodes. And here we are today with our very favorite lender from Waterstone Mortgage, Ryan Gilliam. Hello, Ryan.
Hey, hello, everyone. Thanks for having me again.
Of course. We love these monthly updates. They're super helpful. In fact, I share them with a lot of my clients and they really enjoy, especially your piece in it all. So thank you very much.
That's great to hear. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Of course. Real estate and mortgage kind of do this, right? They go hand in hand.
Yes.
So.
But there's that very, very fine dividing line between the two, where, you get questions about real estate and we get questions about lending and they're like, whoa, we can't go any further. So
I do feel like we have to kind of, have a pretty good knowledge for both, like I have to know real estate pretty well. You have to know mortgages pretty well, so they intertwine quite a bit.
Very, very much so. My mentor from way back in the day always used to tell me, you got to know a little bit about what they do. They need to know a little bit about what you do. Same thing with title. So that way it can be, more of a smooth process. My background, though, for those of you who don't know, I was in mortgage before. I've told you that, right, Ryan?
Yeah. We talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And I feel like it really gives me a leg up when I'm communicating and advising my clients because I actually began in an old mom and pop bank back in the day, back in New Hampshire, and was working as a junior underwriter and went from underwriting. So I understand that whole process. I went from underwriting to becoming an assistant to an originator. And then I became an originator myself. So lots of experience there, which is super helpful. It's really cool so that I can explain good faith estimates. I can explain, things like that. So
and I could tell you have that experience because each of your clients always come prepped really well after speaking with you when they talk to me.
Hey, good going, client. I'm glad. Toast to you. All right, well, catch us up. What's been going on in the mortgage world lately?
Yeah, so interest rates, they're holding steady right now. The Federal Reserve, that they basically recommitted to the fact that they're going to continue to buy mortgage-backed securities to keep rates low. Kind of a reminder, the reason they did that during the pandemic, they jumped in to really, keep rates low to keep the economy going, keep people buying, and it's obviously worked extremely well with record low rates. People are refinancing, cashing out, and obviously buying at record levels. And the problem is when you start doing that and you're pumping money into the economy and with the stimulus, is there's more money out there, so the value of money goes down, and that's inflation, and that's bad for interest rates. But the good thing is based off the numbers we've been getting, is it's been holding steady. It really hasn't been at concerning levels. So because of that, they came out and still said that they're going to be pretty committed to continuing this asset purchase program. So we do feel like rates are going to stay steady and stay low for the foreseeable future, at least for the end of the year. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, that's good news. I mean, for those that are out there that are wanting to capitalize on these great rates and maybe they're, still working through credit repair or something like that. So positive news for them. Have you noticed any changes in the last month with your clients, with the amount of applications you're getting, with the market on your end as a whole?
Yeah, we're still seeing a lot of applications. It's still been pretty steady. But of course, the biggest problem is finding something with the amount of competition that's out there. I know, a lot of them have been asking me about in the news. They've been talking about how existing home sales have been dropping over the past few months, and they think that has a lot to do with demand. Maybe demand is diminishing because of prices going up. But from what we're seeing, it's more about, of course, the supply of homes out there. They're dropping so much, and that's why home sales have been dropping. Have you been seeing that as well?
Yeah, we have. Did you
No, yeah,
want to?
no.
We have. It was actually a couple of weeks ago. I was sitting down with Matt, and I was saying to him, "Hey, I'm starting to notice this shift in the market." And this is before the ARMLS report had come out, which we'll talk about in just a second. But it's absolutely the case. Demand is slowing a bit. It's cooling a little bit. But I noticed that I was seeing buyers kind of back out of the market and just quit and just say, "Hey, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore, and I'm going to wait until next year or whatever it is." So I've noticed a little bit of that just with our clientele and with some clientele of my colleagues. But what was really hit it for me was I'm shopping with a couple of different buyers right now. Two in particular that I was floored with what I had found. So I'm shopping up in Scottsdale, about $400,000 price point.
Yeah.
And I mean, try touching that for the last couple of months. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
But I'm uncovering more and more properties that have actual holes in the showing schedule where I can schedule a showing, first of all, and big holes, real big holes in the schedule. And then little to no competition. We had put in an offer over the weekend. 0 offers had come in. This property had been on the market for 6 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing's happening with another buyer that I think is noteworthy, just because of the area and the price point. She's shopping in the Eastmark, kind of Queen Creek area, about 600,000 to 800,000, and I'm uncovering properties finally that have little to no competition. In fact, we have several properties lined up to see tomorrow that don't have any offers on it, and I'm floored.
That is great. That's promising. Because I mean, Cass Schiller came out again. They're the gold standard with home appreciation, and they basically said it's a record. I think it was 13% increase nationally from March of last year to March of this year, which is the best we've seen since 2015. And again, we're number one. Arizona's number one. 20% was our increase in Phoenix, actually, which I just can't imagine. It's not sustainable, obviously. So hopefully we might see some of that, like you're talking about, Katie, where things are hopefully cooling off a little bit to help out our home buyers here.
Yeah, it absolutely. And I'll pull up a slide from the ARMLS report that came out. Oh gosh, I want to say it came out late last week.
Yeah.
So we started kind of feeling it within our own clientele, and we started talking with each other and talking with the team, saying, "Hey guys, pay attention out there. I think things are changing a little bit." And sure enough, this report came out. Let me show it to you. A couple of days ago. Can you see that?
Yep.
So this is, ARMLS delivers their report. They have it online, so the consumer can access this. It's not, you don't have to have a real estate license to have this information. But I thought it was really interesting what they say up here in this first paragraph about the absorption rate. So 272.62% was our absorption rate last month, and we have now changed down to 204.52%. So if you look at that, that's what it looks like in the chart. It's quite a big difference. And I thought it was cute that they said that or they described it as moving from a 13 alarm fire to a 10 alarm fire. So that doesn't mean like sellers don't, go and run and hide and think the world is over, because it certainly isn't. It's just a little easier for our buyers to get out there and to secure properties.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing that because of, we are, like we always say, we're emerging from this COVID cave, and there's a lot of people that are moving from these cities that were fed up, that had a lot of cash and they were willing to pay whatever. There was also a sense of urgency from their employers and how much longer they're going to, be qualified to be working remote. And I think we're starting to see that fade. especially when California is loosening some of their restrictions and they're returning to normal. Some people are second guessing. There's not as many people flocking with this intense like purpose to buy and say, you know what, there's no limit. We don't care about that. And we got cash. And we're seeing that, especially even in certain parts of the luxury area. I was working with some clients kind of the same. We were looking in that range of around we'll say 1.3 to 1.7. And in Queen Creek, you'd figure, hey, that should be real easy. Well, in the last 6 to 8 months, unbelievable. You know, there were properties that got 25 plus offers, you know what I mean, going $300,000 above ask. And they finally found their dream property. And sure enough, there was one other offer.
Wow.
You know, so I think this kind of just says to exactly what you guys are saying, that it's starting to happen at all levels. And I think that's good. I think that's healthy.
Yes.
What I was reading, kind of what you were saying, that, you know, the 20% for Arizona, there's still a lot of professionals that do believe that we're going to continue down this road, not as aggressive, but for the next 2 years. So, you know, I think if we could maybe go to 7%, get a little bit more equity, and I mean, a little bit more inventory.
Yeah.
I think everyone
Still
will be
strong,
happy.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we still can't shake a stick at that, but it would be a lot easier, I think, on everybody, buyers, you know, and you guys and us as well, if that happened. So that'd be good. For those of you out there that are thinking foreclosures are still going to fall upon us, I just want to share this with you. So this stat comes out with the ARMLS stats as well. I thought this was pretty interesting. So foreclosures pending month over month showed a decrease of 7%. So decrease of 7% from last month. And the year over year figure is down 52.5%. So
Wow.
those that are waiting for foreclosures to pop up, I think you're going to be waiting for a little while longer.
Yeah.
And personally, I've been working with clients, even the ones that during COVID have had some difficulties with their job, maybe a job loss, maybe income reductions, you know, with the plans, the forbearance plans, those have worked out pretty well. And once the forbearance, you know, is over, that they go back to paying. But because so many people have so much equity, as we've been talking about, 20% increase just, you know, year over year from March is incredible. We've been helping a lot of those clients refinance and take some of the equity out to pay off any credit cards that they've built up a little bit, you know, having to charge extra given their circumstances, or even paying off maybe some student loans that are coming due now and not in deferment anymore, or even, you know, expensive car payments. So with rates this low, you know, I think that's another reason we're not seeing very many foreclosures. People are able to tap into that equity to really lower their total monthly obligations and roll it into the mortgage, with rates, you know, being in the low threes right now. So it's that's why I think, you know, a lot of people aren't just, you know, selling or letting go of their homes, obviously, because they could really take advantage of that equity and consolidate debt.
And speaking of finances, that's what we should call them, finances instead of refinances.
I like that.
But speaking of refinances, those still pretty hot and heavy, going strong over in your world?
They have been, like I was mentioning, it's more, you know, last year it was more people just lowering their rates. This year it's been a lot more debt consolidations, a lot more people tapping into their equity, taking cash out. So that's been what's popular, because people, you know, they go on Zillow and they're like, wait a second, how much is my house worth now?
Yeah.
And they say we could get rid of some of these credit cards that have been bugging us for a while. So I've been getting a lot of my past clients coming back, and instead of just doing rate and term refinance where we don't take any equity out, more popular now is cash out refinances.
How much are they taking? Are they still leaving? And are you noticing that people are leaving a comfortable cushion of equity?
Good question.
Or is it something that people are really gambling and, you know, going to the max?
Yeah, that's kind of different. You know, I've been in this industry for a while. Back in 2016 and 17, people were taking money out, and it seems like they were buying luxury items. They were buying boats and expensive cars. Yeah. You know, this time around it's different, where they're just more so being cautious and paying off high interest debt. And you know, you are limited with how much you could take out. When we appraise the home, the highest loan amount you could take while taking equity out is 80% of what the home appraises for. So you're still not going to have mortgage insurance, and you're still going to have at least 20% equity in there. But we have seen people that they don't max that out. You know, they stay around 70% loan to value and pay off some debts and try to keep their mortgage payment low as well.
Yeah, because that was ultimately my thought when I was really trying to predict and say what would be the next catalyst to us seeing a wave in foreclosures, and it was definitely that. Anyone that is taking cash out, doing stuff, if all of a sudden, a 10% decline doesn't really affect anyone that has a 50% equity, but if all of a
Yes.
sudden you're skating at 20% and closer to that, I mean, that you start thinking of things, especially after all your fees to get out and all that.
Yes.
So that's really interesting. But it's good to know that people aren't doing it to buy materialistic items. They're actually doing it to
Yes.
further strengthen their financial abilities, which is
Right.
cool. It's really
Yes.
cool.
Exactly.
A lot different also from that crazy time period back in 04 and 05 when people
Yes.
were using their homes as an ATM. You had mentioned in 2016, I think you said that was a common thing. And back in 04 and 05, remember that?
Oh, geez.
That was crazy
Yeah.
what people were doing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we won't go there. Anything new coming up in the lending world? Any noteworthy news?
Yeah, well, one of my clients called me the other day because that they read in the news that there was a new bill that was being introduced. I know a couple podcasts ago we talked about the first-time homebuyer credit. That it is a bill. There's a lot of hoops to jump through before it gets passed, and it might not get passed. But you could tell the administration is continuing to try to offer these kind of grants or down payment assistance programs. So it's not as popular, as they thought it would be because a lot of industry and professionals, loan officers, realtors are kind of sounding the alarm. Like we don't need more demand, we kind of need a relief from demand. So that's
Right.
why some of these bills they think are going to kind of struggle getting through. But this next one that they proposed, I thought was really cool. I'll read it. It says a new bill was proposed to benefit police officers, prison guards, firefighters, paramedics, emergency medical technicians, and public and private school teachers who've worked in these professions for at least 4 years. And it would allow borrowers to finance up to 100%. So no money down. And basically you pay all the mortgage insurance up front and it's rolled into the loan. So you don't have monthly mortgage insurance either. So that would keep the payments low. So it's an interesting bill, and a lot of people are getting behind it, to obviously some of these first responders, teachers, it's been a tough year, obviously, for them, and rewarding them for their services. So I thought it was pretty cool. So that is being proposed. Not sure if it's going to be passed or not, but it is something that they're kicking around.
Now, is there a down payment from that grant, or is it just they're taking care of the mortgage insurance and the borrower is still liable for the 100% of the purchase price?
Yeah, so no down payment. Yeah, and so basically you're going over 100% because I think it says 103% is what you're borrowing. So it's no
Right.
money down, and then you're financing that monthly mortgage insurance. So that can be a big chunk, $200, $300 for monthly mortgage insurance, and instead of paying it monthly, it's all rolled into the loan. So it's a lot of what veterans do, VA loans. No money down and no monthly mortgage insurance, but they sometimes have higher upfront fees that get rolled into the mortgage. So it's a lot like that. So it's an interesting program. We'll see what happens with it, but something to keep an eye on.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome because, I hear a lot of chatter from people, especially locals, because, I just work in the local market where they didn't have a home to sell previously. Maybe they're a first time buyer. Maybe they've just been renting for a while. And because of COVID and whatever it is that's happened for them in the last year, they don't have down payment funds. They don't have the ability to sell a home and to extract a whole bunch of equity and go ahead and buy another one. And because of that, they're either unable to enter the market or they're just not competitive. And so hopefully this will alleviate that a little bit.
Yeah, I hope so. My being someone that started their career in 2005 and 6, I get really, really leery about 100% finance,
Yeah.
especially in hot markets, and especially when it comes to a group of people that are, they're demanded upon by society, first responders. These people's jobs aren't good. We've just realized, and when COVID happened, these people's jobs didn't slow down. They didn't get to stay home.
Right.
They had to work in way worse situations and such. And I do get a little nervous when you start dangling these 100% finances in front of these people that have these demanding jobs, and that if all of a sudden the market does change, I guess the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And that's where I get a little worried. And I just hope that they're real smart and it makes sense for their situation.
Do we know, and this is just a thought that I had, maybe we don't know, and it's okay if we don't, but do we know what the like the foreclosure rate or the distress rate is for the VA loans? Because
Yeah,
wouldn't that be a good?
that's a great question. Yeah.
That's a great, yeah, no, I could look that up actually. I know it tends to be lower actually than
Mhm.
FHA loans. And
Mhm.
FHA does require a down payment, 3.5%. So VA from what they always report is in terms of foreclosures and distressed sales, those do tend to be lower than the other government programs. That's what they compare them against. So even though it's 0% down, a lot of the times it's even more competitive interest rates as well. So
Yeah.
that might be
Right.
part of the reason why you don't see as many distressed sales or foreclosures with VA borrowers. That's a great point.
And probably because I think if you are active duty and you started defaulting or what on a VA loan, I think you could actually have some repercussions in your in as being an active duty soldier, couldn't you?
Good point. I think there's something there.
Yeah. So I think like at the end of the day, you can't have, if you're active duty, and hopefully someone can correct us if we're wrong, but I believe you're held to a standard that, hey man, you got to make sure all your stuff's in line or you're going to get in trouble at work. But
Or
And kind
it
of like,
reduces
yeah.
your ability or something like that. There is something there because I was speaking with a veteran spouse the other day and she had said, well, I don't know if we would be able to go VA because we had a VA foreclosure in our past.
Mhm.
So there's something there.
Yeah.
That's
so-
interesting.
But, and I guess my point even to say that is just hopefully what if this bill did pass, there was some sort of safeguard or something that would at least really make people think before they signed on the dotted line for
Yeah.
0% at the top of a market.
Yeah.
Just would
Exactly.
hate to see
No,
that.
exactly.
It's really hard to be stuck behind, but
Yeah, and I know you mentioned 2005 when I basically was kind of getting started around that time as well. And I remember one of the loan officers in my office did a loan where it was 100% financing and no income, no asset verification. So it was a Nina loan, and that was kind of part of the reason why those were so risky. And we saw the
Yeah.
correction that we did. Obviously now, even though it's 100% financing, these are people who have very secure jobs and have to prove
Correct.
that they could pay their mortgage as well. So that's another big kind of difference between, then and now. And these people obviously, were working so hard over the past year and deserve,
deserve
something, and I think it's a great bill. We'll see what happens, but yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
That's awesome.
That's a good point about 04 and 05, because that's back when I was an originator. And
Yeah.
I would say that the majority of my pipeline was not A paper, it was subprime.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
the majority of what we did was subprime. Here's a mirror. Can you fog it? Oh, cool. All right, here's $500,000. That's
Yep,
like
that was
basically
exactly
how
it.
it went.
Yep.
So craziness. Well, as far as everything that I'm reading, I'm seeing, people that I'm talking to, I think we're still going to have a positive second half.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think Phoenix is just rocking forward. I think if we did see, the loosening of the belt and maybe got a little bit more inventory, I think that would just be, it would be very healthy. It's not going to slow things down. We're not going to see the brakes slammed on this thing. Like you said, it's still going to be an alarm fire of some sort.
Well, we're at 10
We're at
now,
10.
so we've got a long ways to go. And, I'm hoping that with everything opening up around the country, people getting back to work full time now, like we're going to maybe stop having shortages of lumber and AC units and paint and all of these things that builders need to build homes, that homeowners need to remodel homes. It's really been pinching us hard. I spoke with Fulton yesterday and I thought this was super interesting. Fulton has stopped. They don't have a waiting list. They don't have a lottery. They don't have any, they're just not doing it. So basically they said they are so behind on everything that they have sold, and with dealing with the shortages and everything that they're doing, they have just stopped and they're just working on what they've sold.
That's awesome.
They're going to build the properties that they've sold. The gentleman I was speaking with was really cool and he gave me a lot of information. And he shared with me that it doesn't make any sense, Katie, to have a list of 500 people that I have to contact every month to say, oh, sorry, no properties again this month for you. And then deal with them dropping off and more coming on. He's like, it's just not worth it. So what you need to do for your client is you need to get in touch with me once a week and I'll fill you in. He's basically, basically giving the information to those that seek it versus those that say, hey, just put me on a list and let me know when, things pop up. So I thought that was neat.
You got to prove they really want it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
You got to keep following up.
It's nice to see builders are taking kind of action, proactive action.
Yes.
So they're not being super greedy. They're over promising and under delivering. They're positioning themselves to make sound decisions. So we don't end up having too many homes. And then, what happens when builders need to stop lowering prices? There goes resale. So I think that definitely deserves a hat tip to Fulton, and hopefully a lot of other home builders follow in suit. So.
Yeah. And I don't know that they are. I just had that really good conversation with Fulton yesterday. And I was like, wow, you guys are awesome. I've always loved Fulton. Shout out to Fulton. But I thought that was pretty cool of them. So, all right, gentlemen, anything else to add?
Oh, we covered a lot. This has been a great chat, guys.
Yeah,
We did.
Like always.
Yes, as always. Thank you so much, Ryan. And for those of you out there, if you are interested in being a guest on our show, please give us a follow. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, and we are on Instagram.
That's a lot.
We're probably on other stuff too, but we're definitely on those. And our handle is Team Evo AZ. So you can find us on one of those platforms. Give us a like, shoot us a message, say, hey, I think I'd be a really great guest. We'll get you on. And then while you're at it, please like, subscribe, and download at your favorite podcast platform. We like iTunes. I know there's Google Podcasts out there and a couple of others. But if you download it and give us a rating, then that helps us get more information out to more people. So please do.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan. It's been awesome. You have a good day.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.